What's up, family? Gerald the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcasts on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Show from the show, Norfolk State Spartans head coach, Coach Rob Joseph, in the Bossman Show. Rob, good to see you, brother. How things going up there in Norfolk, man?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, I got to ask you as a New Yorker, man. I know you your whole life, man, you saw the Knicks win that championship, man. So how good does it feel as a native New Yorker, man, to see the Knicks actually pull through this time?
It was something that I thought I would never see in my lifetime, really, after being a fan for so long. But it was good to see them come through, finally get it done. The city is still, buzzing from what I understand, still on fire from what I understand. So I haven't got a chance to get up there yet, but it's been still on fire. So it's good, and you see what happened, man. The Knicks win, and then the whole East reload, right? The whole East did something to try to stop the Knicks. You know what I mean? Little old Jalen Brunson made everybody in the East change up everything they're trying to do.
No doubt. And, the team in New York is, man, diverse, like Puerto Ricans on the team, the Nigerians, you got UK dude, Dominican dude. So talk about just diversity of New York and really how the Knicks team embody the diversity of New York is. The United Nations pretty much is what New York is.
Yeah, New York is a melting pot. So it's like the Knicks right now is a melting pot. Got, like you said, got a lot of different nationalities on it, a lot of different people from different backgrounds and things like that. So it kind of embodies the New York spirit as a whole. But it's just good to see them get a championship, man. It's like, so people was like, oh, they tease me, well, they're not going to do it again next year. Well, nobody has done it again in 8 back to back in 10 years. So it's like you're probably right. They probably won't win again next year, but we won this year. So we are the champs right now.
No doubt, man. And send out them comebacks, man. And I know it's something in basketball, you stick with it, just get stops, kind of that mentality. You get one stop, you can't win that. You can't grab a 19-point score. So talk about seeing what the Knicks did help your team this year. So you got to get down. You all get that monster position at a time. Just bear down, make the right play, you get a little luck here and there, and come back to where the Knicks did it against San Antonio all them games.
Well, I think the NBA game is a little different too because the NBA game is faster, right? Like the shot clock is faster, but there's still a shot clock in the college game, a little slower, but at the same time, you can come back. I mean, there's been times in my career that we have come back from big deficits. Of course, you don't want to get in those deficits because it's hard to come back, but it can be done. And I think it just goes. The Knicks just showed the motto of the game is never over till it's over. So if anybody showed that, it was them this year because it clearly. a lot of the games clearly, embodied that, with them coming back and everything like so. It was great. They probably had to come back too much for the coaches liking. I'm sure Mike Brown didn't like that too much, but hey, they got it done and they won the game.
And do you
Won
feel like
the
that what Jalen Brunson done as a small guard will help change the narrative about small guards and small guards can't win because he's a small guard and embodies everything you want in a leader and as a point person for your team and actually won. You think that him being helping college and European ball all over about the kind of narrative stigma about small guards?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still like an outlier though. I think that you do have to probably be a little bigger than what he did, but I think that it shows that you can get it done. I think every rule or every thought that people have about sports has an exception, right? So I think that he's an exception to the rule. I do think that that you can, if you're good enough, you can play anywhere, but size and length and physical attributes do matter.
And looking at your roster, Rob, kind of bring up what you said, man. You have a lot of switchable size on your team this year. A lot of guys who are athletic, a lot of guys with length or long arms. So talk about when you put together a roster, making sure you have that switchable size where you can play up or down a position based on whatever you are going up against and how that helps you, especially when it comes to those three important games at the scope in March.
We wanted to put together a roster that could play many different ways. For us, we could put on the floor at one point. We could put, if we had a point guard, we could put like 6'3", 6'6", 6'8", 6'10", 6'10" on the floor. If we can, this year at one point, at later on down the season, if it was necessary. Or we could put a roster on the floor with, 1 6'10" guy, and then everybody else, 6'6" under if we have to go a little faster, or quick, be quicker and things. So like that, I think our roster gives us a lot of versatility. For us, one thing that we wanted to expand on was our athleticism. I think we did that, and our length. To have that, and we don't have like really like a whole bunch of 6'10" plotters, and stuff like that. We do have one kid. That's because you needed somebody a little heavy inside to try to get in there and battle. But everybody else is definitely switchable candidates and has some good length on the floor.
And with that size you have, about how important it is for these guys to get it in the fight, rebounding wise, because that's where you win games at rebounding and getting more possessions, stopping their possessions. So talk about with the switchable size you have, positional size, to how having them get involved in that rebounding game is going to help you out this year.
Yeah, man, I think we always say no rebounds, no rings. I think that defense is just the baseline. People say defense win championships. No, I don't think so. I think rebounding win championships. I think defense is just the baseline. Because like no matter how good of defense you play, somebody can still throw the ball at the rim at any point of time. Now when they throw the ball at the rim, who's gonna go get it off the rim, right? So that's where the rebound comes in at. Because if you give a team a second chance, they probably gonna have a better shot they had the first time. So I think rebounds win championships. So hopefully we get guys to get in there and fight. We've been talking about that a lot, preaching it during the summer. It's still early, but just trying to get our rebounding prowess ready.
No doubt, Rob. Like you said, man, like fans don't understand this, man. Like we both understand it. When you get everybody's on those long rebounds, man, like if they get the rebounds, it's going to be an open three. That's pretty much 3 points right there. So it'll be wide open. You're in scramble mode. You got to get to run out to play close out, make the shot. So it didn't get to a third chance. Really going to go down. So talk about that piece of it in the possession game that fans don't really understand about the little small things like loose balls, the balls, but that small possession game in big games, how much it really matters the difference between winning and losing when the margins are so thin.
Yeah, every possession counts, man. Like you can't afford to give up empty possessions, as we will call it. And so empty possessions offensively and also defensively. You got to finish with a rebound, man. Like you could play all the defense in the world. Once again, more than likely that shot is still gonna go up no matter what. So you got to finish the play with a rebound. And if you don't do that, then that's an empty possession defensively. Now it really wears on, like you said, because it could be a kick out three, and now you're in scramble mode to try to get back whole, and now you're running around trying to get a stop when you just had to stop if you would have got the rebound. So rebound is extremely important, man. Extremely important. Extremely important.
And Rob, I noticed sometimes, I know with the Hawks definitely, we talk about a lot about kind of picking your poison defensively on what you're going to live with. So as you and your staff scheme up, talk about that piece of it. The fans will understand about, hey, sometimes you got to decide between bad and worse, or kill me in my head, kill me in my heart defensively. So talk about when trying to scheme up, depending on game to game, how you go about how to decide what you want to live with defensively.
I mean, just the personnel of the other team. It's like some teams don't handle zone. Some teams, I mean, and also the offensive package of the other team. Some teams don't like to play against zone. Some teams have limited zone packages. Some teams have easy zone plays to guard. Some teams have easy man-to-man plays to guard. So it's just about what the other team really has, and what's easier what will make them it tougher on them, because so that's what we just try to lead into like every game, trying to figure out what's what, because every opponent is different. I think there's some things that you do no matter who the opponent is, but some things you tailor towards the opponent. So that's what we look at because the game against like, I don't know, I can't think of the team on our schedule, but it's just different games every game though.
Now, Rob, I know this happens with an NBA sometime, and this is in the regular season in conference. They kind of just depend on certain teams you may see down the road. You hold stuff back the second time around. You may see them down the road. So for you in college, knowing that you play these teams twice in the MEAC, and you may see them a third time at the scope, how much do you maybe not show in that second matchup or the first matchup, knowing that you may see them again come March when it really matters down the road for you?
Some of that stuff you wrestle with because it's like, yeah, you're not trying to show your whole card, your whole deck of cards, but at the same time, you are trying to win the game. So it's like, you will hope that you have enough in your deck that you can use as much as you can and still, maybe make a tweak of it if you play them again or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's tough because even like for me, like in the MEAC tournament, I mean that's when everybody got like the live scouting. Everybody's sitting right there watching you, listening to your calls. People are like, sitting behind your bench with three coaches trying to hear your calls and stuff like that. It's a little different than watching on film. So it's like sometimes you wrestle with like, do I use this play today or do I save it for championship Saturday? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case is. But it's like honestly, sometimes if you don't use that play today, you're gonna go home. So you got to figure it out from there.
Now, I'll tell you this, Rob. This is some idea you may want to steal. I know we played the Knicks in April, knowing we might play them in the playoffs. We use dummy calls.
Oh yeah.
We use dummy calls. Like they thought it was something, but it really wasn't. But see, Mike Brown actually just does this. He'll just do chin. Like it's chin. Mike Brown don't change up nothing. It's just chin. He gonna say chin.
I mean, honestly, I think if you got a good enough play, especially from an offensive standpoint, if you got a good enough play that has multiple options within the play, the other team still got to stop it regardless, though. So it's like you can call it exactly what it is. And I think sometimes when you try to play that much of a chess game, now you're confusing the players, and stuff like that. What I mean, especially college players. Like professionals, maybe there's a little different mindset because that's the the 0.1% of the world, right? But college players is like, they try to, sometimes later in the season they still try to remember your regular play, and now you're trying to change it again now, So, well, that's not really my thing.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah, I had one coach, one coach in the league one time told me that he does that, changes his plays, and I'm like, no, you don't, But it's like, I guess he was trying to throw me off or something. But yeah, people try to play these mind games, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, you're right, man. It didn't work. We still got to be about 51 points by the Knicks. It didn't matter.
Yeah, for sure.
Every what time of day it was, but yeah, man. Like what killed me, Rob, was we couldn't stop at the simple floppy play or flex play. That threw me up. Is this floppy and flex? Why we can't? You can't top lock floppy and flex. But now I had the coaches down.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was funny. It's funny at chess mess, man. And for you, man, this business we in, you've been in Norfolk for going on 20 years, man. Assistant coach to head coach, man. In this world of basketball and coaching, where turnover now guys don't get 1 or 2 years. They used to just get 3. You might not get 1 or 2 at this point. So talk about that longevity, man, and just the key to that, and the people around you in Norfolk State to really support you and what your vision is and keep you there all this time.
Man, I mean, honestly, I thought about this the other day, that about the 20th thing coming up. Like this is the 20th season coming up, but it's like, sometimes I don't feel like it's been 20 years because you're so ingrained into year after year, and every year is different. And of course, like you said, at the beginning of my career, I was assistant coach, so I haven't been in the same role for 20 years, so it feels like 2 different roles, and stuff like that. So, but to be two decades in one spot in this uneasy climate has been like a tremendous feat when I think about it. And And I don't like to, pat myself on the back too much. If somebody said, I like, you hope somebody else will do it for you, right? But it's like the one thing I will pat myself on the back for that is that being there for 20 years, man, like 2 decades is like unfathomable in this climate. There's been coaches and now it's like, I'm getting to be the older coach, even though I'm still not that old because I started so young. I started working at Norfolk at 28, you know what I mean? So it's like I just turned 47 recently, so that's 19 years or whatever. But it's like to be the veteran coach in this game now with the years, maybe not by age totally, because there's, as you know, boss, man, there's people 70 years old, 65 years old coach. So there's people that's way older than me, coaching. But the thing that you see within these 20 years, you see people that came in the game with you, that's out the game, that may be doing something else, that might have been at 10 different schools, like just barely hanging on and things like that. Other funny thing you see coming in this game is that you see people that, like I said, I was the assistant coach at Norfolk, right? You see people that might have been like the high major coach at assistant coach at Villanova or something like that. And like they like, look at you different. You know what I mean? And but because you at Norfolk State. But then now you're still holding on and they trying to get back into business. It's like that's why you better be careful, who you look at funny or judge differently when you get in this game because you never know that like yeah, that coach at Norfolk State who's assistant coach with you when you was at Villanova or wherever you was at could now hire you, too. So you need to, act right. And our business is so crazy because you see that a lot on the road. Like you'll see like people like once they get like this high major gig, it's like they walk with like a different swag, their head up and stuff like that. They try to look down. It's like, come on, man. It's like you'll be going in 2 years. I'll be still here, So, just be humble while you got it. So I think to last 20 years, man, you gotta have a level of success, I think, clearly. You gotta have a level of success. And you gotta have a level of humility with yourself, because I think humility with yourself, man, is like, for me, I don't look at all the championships I won. Am I aware of them? Of course. I mean, people remind me of them all the time. But at the same time, it's like for me, I just look at the next thing, and that keeps me motivated and keeps me going to have success for this longer period of time.
Rob, in your 20 years, how many young men, young black men in Norfolk State you've impacted? And talk about that piece of it, impacting young men's lives, having young men play professional ball, they're becoming husbands and businessmen and entrepreneurs, and they still talk to you about how it was hard some days, but how you helped them out and how it made sense to them after they got out of school, what you're trying to do for them while they was at Norfolk State.
I mean, at this point, it's been, obviously it's been hundreds of guys now, you know what I mean? Like yeah, back when I first started, it wasn't like how it is now when like you go have 13 to 15 new people every year. It wasn't like that. You might have a kid for 3, 4, years, really, 4 years, So is it 300 people? No, but it's a good, 175, 180 kids, that you done put your hands on, maybe probably 200 kids that you done put your hands on to, impact and you have some kind of footprint in their life, and especially as a head coach, when I got a chance to make my own rules, my own setting. And so like the rules that I had directly impacted, stuff that they got going on. So yeah, that's good to see, man. And the thing I tell you too is like it's some players, and I think coaches, you always got one player or two players that might be a little problem, they might not understand it. But I always say that if they understand it later in life, then I still did my job, even though they didn't understand it in the moment. If they understand it later, and honestly, I've had a couple of players come back, even recently, sit on my couch in the office and say, "Yo, coach, I didn't understand why you was doing X, Y, and Z, to me when I was here, but now, I got it. I fully understand, and like that's a win for me, man. Like." Yeah, that might not be a win to add to my coaching total, but that's a win when they know what's going on in the world because of some of your teachings.
And like example, me, I'm a big example. One of the coaches I've known since I was at Tennessee State, Jamal. I've been knowing him
Oh,
my whole.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
had impact on my life. It's been over 20 years. I know I ain't talked to him in a while, but he
yeah,
had impact on my life. I still remember when he talking in the office at TSU. Will
yeah,
Jones, Sal Alexander,
yeah,
dudes I knew. All them dudes I knew. Back in the day, Tennessee State, man. So just what you are, those coaches, man, so important for us as young men. And so I want to tell you and give you flowers now, brother, man. Y'all did a hell of a job with me, Tennessee State, and you're doing a job in Norfolk State. But how you impact this should have, and seeing Coach Sal do what he does now, it is becomes an elder. I mean, it's wonderful, man. So, like I said, man, it's what y'all do for us, your players, and what y'all do for us, young men and athletes, man. It's one of a kind.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's the biggest part of coaching. Like I said, everybody always look at the championships or the awards or whatever the case is, but man, they don't see the nitty gritty of what it is to really be a coach, and that's to impact the lives of people that you can directly touch. I think that a coach, yeah, there's at companies there's supervisors and things like that that touch people, but like as a coach, man, you directly touch these kids on a different level, day in and day out. So I think that's very important.
No doubt, man. I'm asking this man about this. So for you, having only a kid now, pretty much 9 or 10 months, how you go about building that relationship with the young men you used to when you had a guy 3 or 4 years or two, or a JUCO guy 2 years? So how do you kind of try to build a relationship with a guy when you only have them max 9 or 10 months? Some of these cases, because if they play really good for you, they gonna get posted to move up.
I always say now in this day and age, if a kid is really good, he leaves. If a kid is really bad, he leaves because he think he should have been playing. Right? It's like the kids that's in between are the ones that kind of stay, and then even then they might leave because they think they could go to greener pastures, and stuff like that, right? But now with this 9 or 10 month marriage that we have in this game, it ain't the same. It's like you can't even get fully entrenched or immersed into a kid's relationship, and it is really a shame because before you was able to really build some relationships, build some bonds, they might look at you like a father figure, a big brother, something like that. Now, like they can still look at you, but it's not 100% because they don't really know you. Like the thing I tell my team is that, we're a bunch of strangers getting together, man. You know what I mean? Like we're just a bunch of strangers, and we try to figure out who's who and what's what as we guess, day by day, we try to figure this thing out, right? So it's like we're just a bunch of strangers trying to figure it out, man. And hopefully we can do it quickly.
No doubt. And Rob, with this whole new NIL thing and collective thing, how do you go about teaching these young men about finances? Because that money's taxed. It's not just free money. So how do you go about trying to get these young men to understand that, hey, you're a 1099 dude now. Whatever little money we get you, when you get out on our side, you have to pay taxes on that money. You can't all blow it. So talk about that, because you need to get guys to understand the financial piece of it for the taxes. Because I know when back in the day we didn't have that problem.
Yeah, man, it's funny you just said that. We just had a financial meeting today, because like for most of our guys, they're NIL, or rev share, because it's hardly no NIL no more. Everybody doing rev share, revenue share. So it's like it starts August 1st for them, right? So like August 1st it will basically be this weekend because there's no ACH over the weekend, right? So like it's like it's gonna be probably Friday they're gonna get their first hit and stuff. So I was just talking to them about what to do and what not to do with their money, because at some point, it's going to be like more money than these kids ever had in their life at one point, right? It's going to be things like that. So, what do you do now with your money? What do you like? What do you do with it? And for them, is you got to be smart with it, man. Because some of these kids, they're gonna get thousands of dollars in one hit. You know what I mean? And they might not ever see more than $500 in their account. Some of these kids might not ever see more than $200 in the account. Everybody's situation is different. So it's like, what do you do now to keep that money, right? You should always be doing some things to keep money. It's easy to get money to a certain extent, but it's hard to keep it. So it's like, what do you do to keep it?
Man, you said a word there. Like Rob, for me, I made a horrible mistake at Tennessee State, man, on credit card day. I ended up with 12 of them. They was up in the student center for T-shirts and pizza to get a free credit card. I thought the credit card was free. And it didn't hit me till my 20s. I'm in debt. I got bad credit because I had 12 credit cards leaving college. I shouldn't have ever done it. But
Yeah.
I didn't have that financial literacy piece of it back in the day. I just was getting credit cards because I could. And it took me to my 30s to get out of debt. So I'm fully out of debt now. But I don't want people to go through what I had to go through because I know any better in 2004. You know what?
Mhm.
I had all them credit cards because I got a free T-shirt or pizza. You know what I'm saying? So I hope these kids don't fall in the trap that I fell into over 20 years ago.
Yeah, without question. I mean, I think that the stuff that I didn't know growing up, like today, the financial meeting we had was just basically my talk. It wasn't even like a financial advisor or anything. That was, at this point, man, I've learned a lot about finances myself. I have to deal with my own finances, on a day-to-day basis, and I just was able to share the knowledge of things that work for me, because of things that I've learned through growing up, through other people, through research, because at this point, man, it's like and nothing wrong with financial advisors because they know some tricks of the trade that probably I don't know, but you really don't need one. I mean, you could kind of research all the stuff you need to do. You know what I mean? Like you could kind of get your own analysis like of what needs to be done. Like I don't need anybody to pay my bills. I can pay my own bills, stuff like that. So so I was just giving them knowledge of what I do with with resources and money and things like that. And hopefully they might not like everything I said, and that's fine, because to each his own. But there are some core values that hopefully they take for them to be able to save their money.
And Rob, I know I had to go speak at Clark Atlanta about time management to their communication students. So I want to ask you about how do you go about teaching your student athletes about time management, trying to be a student, also be a man of the community, and play ball, and all within the time they allotted. So talk about that piece and teaching them about discipline on how to manage their time in the right way and put in the work they need to put in classroom, in the community, and on the basketball court for you.
The biggest thing now is the time management because like these kids, and some of them, are used to this because they're fourth and fifth year guys or whatever the case is. But like the freshmen or even second year guys who are still trying to figure it out a little bit is that this is the most freedom they ever had in their life. Like you don't have to report to mommy and daddy too much. There's no real curfew because your parents aren't around and things like that. So, and also with college, unlike high school, it's like, okay, you go to high school from like, 8 to 2 or 7 to 1 or whatever people go to high school, from. But now it's not like that. Now you might have one class a day, that you got, and then might have another online class. You know what I mean? Maybe you have two classes this day. Maybe it's not like a full schedule. Like so, the time management is extremely important because you still got to factor in those classes as well as our, weights, practice, film, workouts. It's like food, eating. You got to you got to figure out all that stuff. Um, in a course of a day and social life. Because like I told these guys, like, I encourage them to have a social life because I tell them is that I had the best time of my life in college, man. And now college is becoming such a business, which I guess has always been a business, but it's really, really business like now that we are missing giving these kids uh, the full college experience. It's like we almost treat them like employees, and to a certain extent they are. To a certain because if you get paid for anything, you're an employee of a company. But at the same time, they're still college students. So how can we still make them feel like a college student? So what I tell them is that, hey man, if there's a event on campus, go to it. If you have time. Is there, the caf? Yeah, you guys got money that you don't probably have to eat in the caf if you don't want to, but go to the caf, go meet people. Things like that. Like let people know your face because one, it can help. One, it just helps your social skills, and two, it'll help the fan turnout too. People if they're connected to you, they're gonna come to, especially the students. If they know who you are, they're gonna come see the games. If they don't know who you are, man, I mean, they might just come if they really like basketball or whatever. But people going to support people, right? They always go. I always believe that people going to support people. If I really know you, I'll probably support you. If I just know of you, I might not support you. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, but if I really know you, I'm gonna support you. You know what I mean? And in whatever way that's fair to support you. And coming to a game is more than fair if I really know the person. You know what I mean? So it helps. Like I said, twofold with socially and with fan support.
No doubt, man. And also, like you said, man, it's so important that because I know we would go out on campus and pass out flyers, come to games, give out donuts, do little stuff like that, kind of eyeball who we are as TSU athletics. So people would come to the game. I almost said the wrong word on there, but come and mess with us, and come out and support us, man. Forgetting sometimes I
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
said the wrong word.
yeah.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I don't ask you this, man. So, giving them experiences, man. Talk about this going to Puerto Rico, man. This thing be good to go out of the country, get to play, go out there and play some games, man. Get kind of see what you got a little bit too. Got to get guys some runs. So, how cool is it for the university to go out there, man, and really down there and have an experience of a lifetime for these young men?
Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, obviously the game part of it, you get a chance to see what you got early, but it's honestly so early, you really don't know what you got because nothing's a finished product. It actually is a little taxing on the coach because you're trying to get as much in as possible for you to look like something when you go down there, but yet the things are not perfect or they're not right. It's just like just to have some kind of semblance of order to look like something, right? And then the next thing is for these guys, man, to like be able to spend a whole week in another country and everything like that. It's tremendous, man. They're gonna be able to really bond together. We're gonna have different events and stuff like that. So Even sometimes when you're in the dorm room, it's like you don't really see people all the time, you know. But now when we do our like our hiking, and I think we gotta do hiking on like ATVs or something like that. It's like we all gonna be together, you know, and we're gonna all be together in another country, you know. So that's a valuable experience. I'm happy the NCAA was able to lift that rule about every 4 years. It's like, you know, if you're able to afford it, you should be able to go anytime you want, you know. And so we chose this year to go to see how it goes. I mean, we got, you know, a lot of new players, like which most teams in the country do, but I think that stuff, it helps accelerate it, and we want to try to keep putting together, you know, a budget to at least go, you know, if not every year, at least every other year to some country to be able to bond. Because I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know, once again, we're all strangers that we're trying to figure out how to be a family, and the quicker we figure that out, the usually the better the results are going to be.
The last question for Rob, but from my interns, okay, I just want to give you the heads up from my interns. First one is this, Rob. They want to ask you about the 5-and-5 rule. How does it affect you now going forward, and how you construct your teams construct your teams now?
I mean, it don't affect me too much, because I think that in this day and age, you got to keep thinking that everybody's going to be a senior anyway. You know, because even if that's why, like when people tell me, hey, "Yo, he's a freshman or he's a sophomore, he got X amount of years left," I'm like, "No, you don't. Not for me. He could have 1 year left because everybody is liable to leave." You know, like freshmen are liable to leave, juniors are liable to leave, seniors, yeah, everybody's liable to leave, right? So I do think that it changes a little bit of way. Members on your team could think though, because now it's like, you know, everybody want to try to, like, you know how these kids say, get to the bag, right? Get to the bag, you know, and of course get to the bag is trying to figure out how to do well and then go to high major or something like that, you know, to get to like the money and stuff. But now, honestly, you don't have to do that as quick anymore because that extra year they gave you was like really bonus. You know what I mean? So like now you can, instead of jumping around to different campus to campus every year like a nomad, you know, you can stay 2 years at a campus, stay 3 years at a campus, and then if you want to leave to, in quotes, get to the bag, then go after 2 or 3 years, you know, and things like that. Now go do whatever you want to do, whatever you know you want to try to do. But before kids, you know, thinking that, you know, I got to leave now, I got to leave now, I got to leave now. You know, it's like you don't have to. I think that it changes that a little bit. You don't have to do that, but you know, you never know who's advising these kids, man, to do silly things. So, but you know, I tell you, I would advise any kid of mine, you know, like, oh man, you can stay really, you know, as long as you want, you know, to and then still have a back end to be able to get to the bag. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got two more for you from them, man.
Yeah.
My young lady asked you this question, Coach Jones, what's the most enjoyable part of your job outside of the basketball piece?
I mean, you know, so much is involved with basketball, so it's kind of hard to say, you know, like what's enjoyable in your job outside the basketball. I think that outside of the court, I would say is just like being able to put together a plan with a whole bunch of new people to try to have success every year. I think that's always the challenge and always the reward too. You know, of like, can you have similar success with a whole new group every year, you know, stuff like that. So that's like always a challenge for me, always like a great experience for me, putting together practice plans, putting together stuff like that to try to figure out can we have some success because you know because we talk about this 20 years thing. 20 years has been a lot of successful in that 20 years that people expect more success. So like I like trying to like put together the plan and try to have the success. So hopefully to answer that question, like I said, you know, maybe that's not on the court, but it's still related to basketball. It's kind of hard to like ask me what's my favorite part of my job outside of basketball. I mean, I'm a basketball coach, you know, so that's a little tough. That's a
Yeah,
little tough.
I think that's one of the journalism questions I would never ask you, but I get it
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. That's a little
I get
tough.
it.
That's a little tough,
I get
man.
it. And the last one is this. This one might be easier for you. Last one they have for you is says Coach Jones, if you wasn't a basketball coach, what would your career path be?
Entertainment for sure, 100%. You know, for me, I got involved in entertainment early in my career. In college, I was the president of the entertainment committee. So I used to be in charge of throwing the concerts and you know comedy shows and stuff like that. Once I got out, I retained the context of a lot of those people, and I started doing the stuff myself. Kind of started my own entertainment company and everything like that. After that, I got a chance to work with like guys like 50 Cent and Nas and you know guys like that doing shows for them, putting together, helping put together tours for them and stuff like that. So I would have definitely stayed in that field. You know, definitely, you know, staying. I would definitely say that. I mean, now I'm so into my field that I don't really think about the other side no more. But in a perfect world, I would have loved to do basketball and entertainment at the same time, some way, somehow. Now, I probably would have had no time for myself at all if I did that. But in a perfect world, I would have liked to do both. So if I wasn't a basketball coach, I definitely would still be involved in that 100% because I was fully into that, like fully into that. So yeah, now I just don't, I just basketball now.
No doubt. Well, Rob, man, thank you for doing this for me, man. And this interview with me today, man. I always appreciate our chats, man. I wish you best of luck, man. And I really do hope we're talking again in March when you win that. Go ahead and win that again, man. Because I love chatting with you around that. That's like Sunday day. I know you had a great year, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, yeah, you're right. If I talk to you in March, I had a good year, and then, we'll talk more about the team because it's hard to talk about the team now, and I don't know what's going on right now. But it's like, later on in the season, I could fully in depth talk about the team, stuff. So,
No doubt, bro. Thank you for telling us, my brothers. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
all right, likewise, man.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
What's up, family? Gerald the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to The Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.